In this video, we're going to be reviewing the Scrum process and how to effectively operate a Scrum project through MagicTask and effectively deliver with Agile teams. So let's jump right into it. So the first thing you want to do to kick off your Scrum project right is create a project in MagicTask. Do that by clicking on the Add Project button in the left-hand side menu, enter your project name, click Create, and you'll have a brand new blank project to use. Typically, the first thing Scrum teams like to do is start by entering items into their backlog. These items generally start out very high level, and as they get closer and closer to being worked on, they get broken down into smaller items that can be estimated more accurately. So I've added a bunch of tasks in the backlog here. As you can see, I've added 13 tasks. They all have their own IDs for the task, and they're all assigned to nobody. So in order to create a task in the backlog, go to the top taskbar, and you'll notice the project is already populated here, and type in the task name. And it will go straight to the top of the backlog. The next thing most teams like to do, and something that should be done regularly throughout the course of the project in any Scrum team, is prioritization. Keeping the backlog groomed is critical for making sure that the team is always working on the most relevant pieces of work. In order to prioritize a MagicTask, all you have to do is hover over a task, grab the little handle icon, and drag it to the position in the list that you want it to be. Now that we have the backlog groomed and in a priority order that we're comfortable with, we can begin our very first sprint planning session. In order to do this successfully, what we need to do is actually estimate all of the tasks in the backlog that we're planning to work on. To estimate a task and change its size, we have an indicator for the size on each task here. Everything is by default starting out as a medium, but when you click on the medium icon, it will actually give you the list of sizing options. So let's just say this task is a large, this task is a small, this is a medium, and this is an extra large. Now that we have our 4 tasks estimated, we can put them into our focus and see the total point amount for the sprint. You can use the focus box essentially as the focus for the sprint and all the items you're working on for that particular time period. Now that we have the items we know we're comfortable fitting in the 2-week time frame, we actually gather what's called the initial velocity for the team. This 850 points right here signifies the amount of points that we can fit in every 2-week time frame, so we can more accurately predict what work will be done for each sprint. Once everybody agrees that this is what we need to do and this is the goal for the sprint, the task can actually be broken out into the various subsections and subtasks to complete the parent task. So for example, if this task requires 2 people to complete it, person 1 task, person 2 task, you can create a subtask for each person and assign them to the various users. Now that you have all your tasks broken out in the sprint and you're ready to start, you can assign the subtasks and the parent tasks to all the users required in the sprint. So for example, I am going to assign this task to myself and the second task to myself as well. And I can now see how that actually goes into my tasks here, and the tasks are assigned to me. This way I can actually track everything I need to do in the sprint and prioritize it in my own backlog and focus to get more things done. Throughout the sprint during the 2-week duration, the team will be taking what's known as a daily stand-up to cover the progress of the current sprint. The daily stand-up aims to cover what I worked on, what I'm planning to work on, and any blockers I may have. This way, any blockers that arise can be tackled and addressed the second they come up, instead of lingering throughout the project lifespan. At the end of each sprint, after all the development items have been completed, a demo meeting is put in place to review the actual results and the features developed during that sprint. The goal of each sprint is to develop finalized and production-ready software that can be demoed and released to production if needed or if ready for release. After the items in the sprint have been completed and delivered, all of the items in the sprint focus will be checked off, which will then go to the completed tab, and you can see a history of all the completed items across the history of the project under the completed tab.